That was good. That was really good.
We can do that. Oh my goodness.
Good evening and welcome to Louie O Live with Robin Nievera.
Welcome, guys. We've got the one and only Marcus Davis and the other second one and only Moofs, a.k.a. Chris Lopez.
Yes.
In the house.
Alam niyo po, isang gabi ulit ng musika at kwentuhan masarap pakinggan. Alam mo, English and Tagalog, kailangan medyo may hugot tayo ng konti. Ako, mauubusan ako ng English, but I'll do my best.
I have a feeling this is going to be an English episode.
Yeah, but it's going to be fun. It's fun. No,
Chris, you do the Tagalog, I'll do the English.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, sige.
Okay, go, Rob.
Welcome. We have Marcus Davis. We have Moofs, two of the youngest, or they're not up and coming anymore. These guys write hits every single day, and they're gracing their presence with us here on Louie O Live. So thank you guys so much. Marcus moved here 15 years ago, and he's been doing music ever since. He's done everything. He's done commercials. He's written for the best artists in the country. Chris has done the same thing.
Legend.
Tell us about your record label.
Moofs has Tarsier Records. They have music every single month, week, every other week. You guys release something. It's crazy.
It's every week now. Yeah, we got up to our process rolling. We got to release about every week. Yeah.
How many songs do you produce in a week? Can you come up with 1, 2, 3? Yeah.
I like to try and finish one per week myself, but it depends. You know, sometimes there's a lot of meetings, so I have to spend more time on the business side than production.
Wow. Isipin nyo, one song a week. Grabe yun.
Well,
Ganon sila. Parang factory, no?
I know that Marcus does commercials.
That's
and I remember one thing you told me is that you try to write a song like every day.
I used to, but much like Chris, I spend more time on the business side now. But yeah, there was a point where I was doing a song a day, just as a exercise, you know,
flex
keep the mind
muscle,
sharp.
Yeah.
How do you, so on that note, how do you keep your mind sharp for music? You guys write so much music all the time. How do you keep it fresh every single time?
Not focusing on music. Like, I call it mana, because like if you're stressed out and you sit down and try and write a song, it's not going to happen. You're not going to come up with anything. So you have to like recharge your mana. You have to take care of yourself, make sure you're happy, because you'll work much more efficiently in a place of happiness and relaxation than you would all stressed out. You get a lot more done a lot quicker.
When you're relaxing or when you're in the car, I'm curious, what do you listen to?
I rely on Spotify's like algorithmic playlists a lot.
So it's still
because I'm
music.
lazy.
It's still
music.
You still It's like me when I'm in the car. I listen to news. It's totally left field. I don't listen to music.
Okay.
So in your downtime, or if you have downtime, what do you listen to?
You know, lately I've been listening to a lot of reggae. Actually, I
love Afrobeat.
I've become obsessed with reggae. Afrobeat's really dope too. That's a wave, man. Yeah.
Alam nyo kasi minsan kailangan mag-relax di ba? Kailangan hindi lagi music. Kaya minsan may dead end. So sometimes do you like hit a brick wall and then parang dead end, you can't think of anything? Does that happen to you?
Yeah, sometimes, and then I stop. You go play a video game or something.
That's the best advice. Just stop.
Leave it alone.
Even if just for 10 minutes, you know, come back.
Dude, you reached 50 million streams on Spotify?
The label did. The label did. Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was not expecting.
You were surprised? Yeah. That's good, man. That's good stuff. Even the song you did with Vince, I was in the States when he did that. That was dope, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Rise, right?
Yeah. Dude, that guy's incredible.
Yeah, that's super. I wish he could be here. That'd be super dope. Marcus, how about you, man? What do you listen to in the car on your downtime, and how do you start?
Recently, I've been steering away from music a lot, like listening to music in the car and stuff like that. A lot of times I watch YouTube, or I have it on YouTube going, because I'm in traffic a lot of times. So I'm just kind of like sitting there watching like instructional videos on stuff, or seminars on marketing.
Podcasts are good too. Yeah.
But you know, one of to go back to your first question about inspiration and about keeping it fresh.
Yeah.
One of the things that's happened to me in like the last 2 or 3 years is I've become a fan of music again. Because after you do this for as long as you do, you stop being a fan of music. Like it's work.
Yes,
right?
that's correct.
So I did start getting back into like really just listening to artists for the sake of listening, not for work. just and listening to all kinds of stuff and going down the deep rabbit hole that is Spotify.
Yeah.
That is, and so I do that. I do it at the gym. I do at the house. I just play music sometimes while I'm cleaning up the house, and then I'll hear something that I really like, and it like makes me want to go to the studio.
Right.
And then I go and I knock a song
tickles your
out.
brain. Right?
Yeah, and that's how it works for me.
What I do sometimes, Rob, I always tell people like our brain is like a hard. It is a hard drive.
Yeah.
So just keep your ears open. Keep on listening to different kinds of music, because when the time comes when you have to work, your brain searches, and then it finds the thing you heard a long time ago.
Access those memories.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what I really like about these two producers is honestly when I hear a lot of pop songs on the radio from us. This is just from us in the Philippines. A lot of the songs sound the same. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I could give you someone's name and his song will sound exactly sound like the other one, and you call that OPM or you call that pop. But I know which songs these guys have written. Marcus doesn't even sing on some of these records. You don't even sing at all.
I don't sing at all.
But I know that it's Moose and I know that it's Marcus. The second I hear it, I go, okay, Marcus probably wrote this one or Moose probably wrote this one. So what is the secret to writing a pop song that isn't like everyone else's? You know what I mean? It sounds different. You guys sound different from each other. You guys sound different from a lot of other people, but we still know it's Marcus. We still know it's Moose.
To be honest, and this is something I'll speak on behalf of, like, when I listen to his stuff, what I notice. I think what separates his stuff from a lot of other people's stuff that I hear is there's a certain technical aspect. Like, I always say, and what there's an abundance of in the Philippines is talent, right? That's something that's God-given. It's something that's nurtured. But then skill is something that's developed through hard work. And when I hear his stuff, I hear equal parts talent and equal parts skill. I hear the quality of the mixes. I hear the quality of the musicianship. I hear the quality of the direction of the vocalist. And I hear it all come together in this nice bow. And when I listen to a lot of other people's stuff, I hear one or the other. I don't hear it all come together. And I think that's what makes his stuff stand above the rest, in my opinion.
I'm so kilig right now.
Did you talk at
from
all?
you.
No, but you know what I mean?
No.
Like, he's a classically trained musician, right?
We're going to
And
get
there's
into that.
There's a lot of classically trained musicians who don't understand the technical side.
Okay, that's
right?
correct.
But he understands the technical side like a DJ.
Yeah.
Is a classical trained musician and works with vocalists. That's what you hear when you hear his stuff.
Yeah.
What you hear when you hear other people's stuff is they excel in one area. And I think the key to being a strong producer, a standout producer, is you can't hear them stand out in one area. It has to be a cohesive piece of work. And I get that with him, and that's probably what people hear with me. I start off as a musician who then learned the technical aspect. And when you put that together, it has its own sound.
Yeah.
That's different than someone who's more musician or more technical, right?
So we'll talk about that. We'll talk more about
Yeah, I need
Marcus
to
and all
talk
that.
about his music.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you do.
You don't have
Of course you do. We talk about everyone's music here. So we'll be right back, guys. More with Louie Live with Rob and Nievera after this. Welcome back to Louie Live with Rob and Nievera. Mr. Louie Ocampo is there. Mr. Marcus Davis also there. And we have Mr. Lopez, a.k.a. Moves.
Alam nyo ho, talagang classically trained, not only classically trained, in fact, you have a degree in music, right? Correct. Yes, he had formal training that the old school would say, were you formally trained in music? That's what we used to say. So, yes, alam nyo po, siya lahat talaga, kung ano na pag-aralan niya sa music, ginawa niya. Nag-aral siya sa Amerika. Rob.
Classical music to an extent. You need to know the foundations of an instrument or the craft you're doing, right? But how do you combine both? Because classical music and the music of today is it's not that far, but they're very different sounds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how do you do it so that you can take what you've learned classically and make it into a song for the day?
I feel like the classical stuff, it just gives you a foundation. So especially on the guitar, like when I'm thinking of stuff, I can think of it on the fretboard, you know, and then I know how to. It helps me just express what I'm thinking of, you know, musically. It gives me the tools to do that. I don't know. I don't really consciously think about it.
Do you throw any classical, not words, just like classical styles into your songs?
I mean, sometimes I'll record. I'll get my classical guitar, the nylon string out, and I'll record that way because that's still my favorite way to play. I mean,
oh really?
That or electric, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Well, in our case, for keyboard players, we were required to take classical music for the finger dexterity so that your fingers can move faster. Alam niyo po, dati, talagang piano, kunyara mag-exercise kayo.
Yeah.
Until your fingers can move faster. So I'm sure in classical...
No, and for piano, for guitar, the keys is the same, right? You just move up. But piano, you have to know all the keys. I don't know how you guys do
and
that.
And another thing, I think, as far as classical music is concerned, it gives you a very wide scope of harmony. Harmony po, yung harmony, yan yung chords na nilalagay, yung mga...
One?
Right.
But with classical...
Music theory, it gives you, that's a big leg up.
The avenue is so wide.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Do you guys think of pegs?
That's a useful word. It's
Right.
not one that's like
Because
thrown around a lot in the U.S.
I know,
But it's really,
but,
it's
but
like
you know what it means, right? It means
Reference.
reference. I want a song. I want you to write me a song, and here's the peg I want it to sound like.
Yeah.
To a lot of people, they just change a chord, they change the key, they change the tempo, and it's theirs. But for you guys, what does that mean for you? What do you take from peg?
I actually once heard, I think I could be, I don't want to quote him, but I think it was Einstein who said something along the lines of real genius is knowing how to copy well. And I think for me, I've learned to understand what the magic is of a particular genre through listening to pegs and then kind of reverse engineer that in my own way.
Yeah, that's correct.
Still add myself to it, but I'm understanding, why do people like this? What is it about this that makes people get up and dance or makes people cry? And how do I take that and infuse it into what I'm doing?
Yeah. Just to touch on that, you've been creating music for so long, but you're still like right there. Like you stay current, right? You've evolved with the times, and I think that's really important as a producer. The longer you're around, you have to stay current, learn new trends, learn how to make the new kind of music, and I think he does that really, really well.
You guys both live in the States. Now, what is the reason to make music from the Philippines rather than do it in the States? Why are you doing it here when you can totally do it in the States?
I'm just not good enough.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, that is a very humbling.
that's
oh my
legit.
God, yeah.
Same.
I don't know. I mean, this is where life took me, and this is where I am at. And the truth is, I feel like Filipinos are good enough.
Yeah.
I feel like there's no reason that I can't lend my ability here to the people here who need it most. I don't feel like they need another me in the States.
Yeah,
But I
it's
feel like they need me here.
A better question would be,
there.
Yeah.
so instead of asking you the question, what would you tell producers who live on pegs? You know, it's not, what we're all saying is correct about pegs. We're taking the core of the song and we're understanding why it makes people feel this way. But some people just copy paste,
yeah,
right?
sure.
So what would you like to tell those producers how to be more confident with their own style and just learn from these pegs about why they want it this way?
I guess for me, pegs are really useful because it helps you get close to what the artist wants. Otherwise, you're going to just waste a lot of time. You're going to spend a whole bunch of time composing something, and then for me, I mix my own stuff like he does. So you have to mix it. If you change the composition and the instrumentation, then you have to redo the mix. So yeah, I've learned this the hard way. You do something all the way to the end of the mix, and then you show it to them. They're like, no, I wanted something different. Then you're like ready to tear your hair out because you have to go back in for another 30 hours. So I try and like up front send me exactly what you want so I can get it right. And then I feel like you are, as a producer, a product of your influences and your history. So in copying the peg, it'll come through my filters and it'll come out how I guess my music comes out. And it just, hopefully that works. Hopefully they're happy with it.
At the end of the day, client is always right.
For sure. For
Ang
sure.
boss ang laging sinusundan. Sinusunod o sinusundan. Kaya sometimes if the boss will say, I want it to sound like that, just follow the boss. You know, there were times that in my mix, they'll say, oh, I want the French horn softer.
Wow, huh? That's really specific.
And I said, French horn. And inside I'm saying, there's no French horn here.
Yeah.
But yes, I'll take it out.
I've actually honestly sent someone a song and they said, can you make the thing softer? I don't know what it was. I just resent them the same email. And they were like, thank you, it's much nicer.
The classic
But I
thing.
changed the thing.
The classic
You
thing
should be
is
saying that on.
I didn't say anything. I was like, I didn't say who it was. I didn't say the song or any of those things.
the classic thing is, Rob, they say, oh, it's too loud. Okay, I'll make it softer, but you don't actually touch anything.
Diba? So you
How's
did it.
that?
Louie
That's much
Papa did it.
better.
Down and back up again.
Look at this knob. Look at what it does. Does nothing. Chris, we want to know how you typically start a song.
Okay, well, I guess it's always different. I mean, for me, it's usually the chords. I have a project here. It's pulled up. This is I don't know if you guys know this incredible singer artist. His name's Brian McKnight Jr., the son of Brian McKnight, and he had a song about 10 years ago called "Marry Your Daughter," and it was just kind of leaked. Like the version that got out and blew up was a leaked one-take demo. And so we linked in LA last year, and he agreed to do like a remake and have us put it out here. So I did that earlier this year, and this is that. I don't have my outboard UAD cards, so it's not going to sound as good. But let's see if this works. So I think I started this one with the organ. This layer. That was because I wasn't making up the chords. I was imitating the chords of an existing thing. So I put this bed down first. And then there's some strings in here. And then like the volume's automated up a little bit there. And then guitar is always a big part for me. So where's the guitar? Here's some guitar.
Good in 6?
5. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes.
Oh, see, that's what I was just asking that kanina. Now I'm excited. I was like, oh, you just did it.
And then something like this, you put a little lead at the end. This sounds a little funny because there's some stuff missing, but. And then a big part to something I didn't know how to do as well at the beginning is the drums. The drums really have to
Oh, there you go.
smack. So I put everything in a drum
That's
bus.
cool. That's in 6,
Yeah.
right? That's dope.
And I like percussions. That's kind of like my thing, like a little bit of a tropical edge. So, yeah.
That's your California thing.
Yeah. And the bass is really, especially, these days, bass is everything, right? So there's no one formula.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess I start with the chords and then just start building it from there.
Kumbaga yung papel, dito niya ginagawa lahat ng music. But instead of paper, nasa computer na siya. Before, we had to depend on cassette tapes and we only had 2 tracks. But now, we call this, it's a hard drive. Everything is stored. Sound bites are stored. It can be very, very technical. But just look at it this way, ho. Ito yung papel niya, yung screen na yan, at diyan niya ginagawa yung music. So madaming patong niya. Kunyari, iba-ibang kulay. Yon. Because it can be alien to them also. But at least now, they see it. Ganun pala sila gumawa ng kanta.
Yeah, this is how you make a song.
This is how you...
This is essentially what it will look like.
Yung mga kulay ho dyan, yan yung mga iba-ibang instrumento.
How
May
many guitar tracks
drums,
do you
may
have?
bass, may guitar.
More with Louie Live with Robin Nievera after this.
Oh!
I like playing with him. That works nice.
Welcome back to Louie Live, guys, with Robin Nievera, Moose, and Mr. Marcus Davis. Marcus and I bumped into each other
Okay.
for coffee in the States. You visited last year, right? That was last year. And I wanted to talk about it because Randy Jackson said something that stuck with me for all of us producers, all of us singers and all that. Our friend Jimson was also there. And Jimson made Randy hear a track. Do you remember this? He made him play a track and Randy goes, "This is such a good track. I love this. This person is amazing. The song was great. Perfect." And he goes, "But I wouldn't sign this person today." And the reason why Randy said that was because music has changed in the last 6 months when they finished the song. Or it had been a number amount of months. I don't know if it was 6. But he was like, "I want to go to the new direction already." It's 2000. At the time, it was 2019. He was saying that 2020 was going to change because it's a new decade. And he steered clear from whatever that sound was because that sound was very current at the time. But he said he wanted to go do something different. He said 2 other artist names. I don't have to say their name. But that was his mindset. It was, he changed. He wanted to do something different and something new.
Thinking ahead.
Thinking ahead.
You know, I think the thing about Randy, what he understands is that there's a difference between writing a hit song for an artist who's already a success and writing a hit song for an artist you're trying to turn into a success. When you're trying to take an artist and turn them into a success, they need a unique identifier. They need something that separates them from everyone else. So you can't just give them a hit song. You have to give them a hit song with a unique identifier. Now, if it's a big artist who's always been there, then yeah, you can just open up the catalog and say, which one do you like the most? Put you on it, and it's a success. And Randy understands that because he's in the business of finding new talent.
Yeah.
You know, and so he knows that world very well. And that's what he was trying to communicate. It's not it wasn't that the song wasn't great. It's that this song won't turn a nobody into somebody.
Okay.
And there's a
That's
difference. Good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. Very, very cool. Marcus has worked with James Reed, Billy Crawford, and all those people.
Everybody.
All of their famous songs.
Everyone.
Marcus has helped out. Even Nadine, right?
Yes.
That's correct. How do you can answer this too, Chris. How do you decide who you want to work with? What is that thing in them that you find is like, this person's going to be great? This is a good song. This is a good artist. How do you distinguish that?
When I was starting out and I was looking to find that next big artist, what I would be looking for is someone who has something to say. I think it's so important. I don't care how good you sing. What I care about is, why should anyone care about you? You have to tell me that. If you could convince me why anyone should care about you, then you could convince the rest of the world. And so, and that has a lot to do with your perspective. What do you have to say? Why does it matter? You know, what about your aura is going to make people want to follow you and look you up and know what's going on with your life?
That's good.
Those are artists that I look for. An artist that just sings well, get in line. There's a lot of artists that sing well who have nothing to say.
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way. In a way, it's harder now. Diba? Kumbaga, before, you just come up with a good song and guaranteed that will make you a star.
That's
now
not how
it doesn't
it is
work
now.
anymore
There's
now.
so much music now, you know? And
Yeah.
something he was saying earlier, that like he's such a good producer, he's been doing it for so long that he doesn't even think about it. But to be able to do that, there's so many tools you have to build first. Like when you start producing, and for me, for the first probably 7 years, you're just trying to imitate, right?
Yeah.
And be as good as what you hear. But there's a point where you finally are able to do that, and you can start to think ahead and try to take risks, and your skills are there enough that you can actually make it sound good. That's when you make something like what he's talking about, you know? When you have the ability to not only see it, but execute it.
I have a strange question for the both of you. What is the biggest struggle in producing a record here?
Managers?
Huh?
You know what? I'll tell
He
you.
said that quietly, too.
I'll tell you, honestly, my biggest struggle has been working with talented artists. And I know that sounds weird, but I've gotten really good at working with non-talented artists because they just take my direction.
Yeah.
And it becomes
But,
it's easier.
I get it.
But you know, now I'm in this phase which is a beautiful thing, where the Philippines, the artists are starting to write their own songs. They're starting to have their own identity as far as what they want to do. And as much as a blessing that is, it's also a curse, because now we get into this dialogue where we're going back and forth about, like, I see their vision, but how to get them there in a way that's still viable to the rest of the industry and all that becomes difficult. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
Because they're just caught up in, this is what I like to listen to, this is what I want to sound like.
Yeah.
Whereas my background is, yeah, but I know what works. I know what works. I've been doing it, and so trying to meet in the middle has become challenging, but it's a good challenge that I've been up for, and I've learned a lot from these artists. Like, I just worked with Nadine, Nadine and James, they wrote their whole record, and when they first sent me the music, I was kind of like, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have been wronger. You know what I mean? But I hung in there, and I helped them see their vision through. And then they created this whole visual album that is a masterpiece. And I was just like, wow, maybe I don't know everything. You know?
It's an amazing record, by the way.
There you go.
Thank
But
you.
the lesson from that is open your mind to things. You know what I mean? Like, he knows so much about these things. But like with that album in particular, you were doing a song, right? Mm-hmm. But they were thinking big picture. They just asked you for a slice of the pie. You know what I mean? But yeah, always open your mind
But
to things
Rob,
when you work with other people.
What Marcus is doing is usually then that was the job of the manager. In his case, he that's how he thinks now. He's like, parang, how far will this song go? Is this good for your image?
He's thinking about the consumer already.
Will
Yeah.
it sustain itself? That's normally the job of the manager, but now as a producer, he's doing it also. So it's so difficult.
Is it? I've learned this year that my whole life it's been about music. The song should be good. The music video should be good. But now I'm thinking of branding.
That's
Right.
all it is now.
Maybe it
That's
should
what
be
you guys
bad.
do. That's what you do. But you know what I mean? Instead of because now because of social media, it's not just your song. It's how you dress. It's how you interact with people. It's how you respond to things.
Music is not what people think it is.
Yeah.
Music is the best way to push culture in any society. There's no better way than
Great way
music.
of putting it.
So a lot of people think, oh, it's just a good song. It feels good. I sing it.
But-
no,
yeah.
really what it is it's a masterpiece of a marketing tool to push trends and culture that advertising bite on, that everybody else bites on.
Would you say this is what K-pop is doing?
Absolutely. They prove exactly what I'm saying. And so my point is, if you understand that, then as a producer today, you are a marketing exec. You have to be able to explain to your client how whatever you're going to create is going to penetrate the demographic they're after. And you have to be able to get those results. And if you do, they keep coming back to you. If you don't, you become old news. That's the business. That's all it is. That's all it's been for a while now.
Yeah.
And it's only going further in that direction because of social media.
So with everything that has happened in 2020, we don't do live shows anymore. You guys are always in the studio. We're all trying to sing, market, brand ourselves from home. How has that been for you guys?
For me, I have my studio in one of the bedrooms in my condo.
Also
so-
including the people that you take care of, Inigo and them. Like I know that you help them out with their marketing too.
I mean, thankfully, recorded music is tuloy, right? Like live shows, unfortunately, they're starting to recover with virtual, but recorded music is still happening. And touching on what he was saying earlier, you almost have to think of the song itself as an advertisement, because the real money is going to come not necessarily from the streams, but from, like, take Zed, for example. Like, he will make a #1 hit song and it'll be all over Spotify playlist, radio, whatever, but that's like a fraction. Like, that's now he can sell out an arena, and that's where he'll really make the money. Or he can sell it to commercial licensing. That's where he'll really make the money. So you kind of like the song's an ad. right?
Licensing.
Yeah, the
You know,
song's an ad. The product is something else.
We can talk about this for months or even
Years.
Yeah, and like I'm learning so much also from these guys. My God, and I've been in the business for 40 years, and this is like alien to me, you know. So it's para sa mga nanonood, you know. As far as music, don't shut your world. Always be open. Try to learn anything new and everything new today. Diba? Kasi the moment, like this one, what they're making kwento, I'm trying to be a son of
I know
our
you're just
viewers.
translating.
So,
Translating.
my God, it never stops. And this is like I'm in Disneyland listening to you guys because I'm enjoying this conversation. And I'm just like being quiet, and wow, thank you so much.
What can you tell them as being the first one of the first ones to be doing this
please
here in the
drop some
Philippines?
knowledge on us.
You know what I mean? They're doing it now,
No,
but
they're
you've been doing this for so long.
It's the same thing. I mean, akong pinaka-importante, kapag pinintasan ka, don't make it bring you down because everybody, they have their own opinions about if you sorry to say, if you suck or what, if you sound bad or what, but
If you
just proceed. And then there are a lot of people in this world. This world is so huge. Someone out there will love your music, and don't just make one person ruin your day, diba?
Yeah,
So-
this is just if you're doing music as a business, right? If you're
Yeah.
doing music for fun, you should just do what you love
Yeah.
and what makes you happy.
And be open to criticisms and take it well.
Yeah.
Take it well, but we're
So-
sensitive.
I have while we were doing pre-prod about this show, I went into his recording studio in Makati, and he made me hear a song, and I was like, "That's really different for him.
Yeah.
It's very you."
Nice.
In other words, and he was saying that I want to try this,
You should.
but he won't show it to the producers because they all know that Louie Ocampo is a name, is a brand, is a sound. You know what I'm talking about, right? You showed me this.
Yeah. And that was in the.
And I
I
heard-
told you
Yeah.
something I wanted to do in the 90s.
Okay, so if he said that in the 90s, it still sounds current today.
Wow.
So
I
I want
wanna hear this.
I want both of you to tell him that you should make someone else hear it. Probably
Yeah.
they would do it for you
I'll probably get.
because it's really nice. It's really fresh for him.
I would love to hear it.
And imagine his how he would be with something current today. You know what I mean? Like how would you do that for him?
No, well, sometimes kasi the industry will swallow you up eh.
Yeah,
Alam mo
I know.
yon, you tend to sunod-sunod ka na lang kung anong gusto ng lahat ng tao, then you lose your identity. So there, the balance, you try to balance yourself.
Yeah.
Still be who you are, and yet try to be as professional in sharing your craft and not losing your identity.
Because when I heard it, you didn't lose anything. You just added something that was new at the time. Is what I'm trying to say. Because you've been doing this for so long, and we're all talking about music and songs as being something to market yourself, something to change, to change the trends and all of that. That's what we were saying a while ago. And you're the perfect example because you started writing my mom and dad's songs in the 80s and all of that. But these guys are the ones starting the trends now for music in this country. So because they work with singers, there's not a lot of instrumentalists like you. So I'm just trying to parang tell you should do it. I'm trying to tell you should.
But I love the
you
business
should release
side.
that.
What Marcus you were saying? Oh my
Yeah,
God,
well,
it's
thank you. I wanted to say you brought up something that I think is worth touching on briefly. You do get chewed up by the industry in the sense that, especially if you build a name and a brand for yourself, as you have, you start getting into this rat race of trying to maintain that image of yourself, which actually stunts your growth. And one of the best things that happened to me in my career is I had this whole career of making hits, making the station IDs and all those things and jingles and all that stuff. And then Kiana and James Reed and all of them came around, the new breed.
Disruptors.
And I felt inadequate. And I had to work through that. And also I was fighting this, I got to still be the man. But you know what I did? I got good at being okay with not being great. And then I found greatness again. And I think that's a phase we all have to go through. We have to go through that phase as creators where we just are okay with not being great. It's going to happen.
You got to make a lot of crap to get the good stuff.
Yeah, and the younger guys are going to come in. They're going to have more time, more resources, more technology in their favor. You will hit that point where you're just not great anymore. But if you're okay with it, maybe you can get great again by feeding off of them. And that's what I started to do. I started to feed off of them. And then I found it again. I found the passion for it again. I got into the technology again. But I'm probably going to have to do it all over again in 5 years. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's super true.
You know. But when I was 25, I was like right there on the cusp of everything modern. But now I'm 40. So now the struggle is keeping up. And it's a heavy struggle. But it's part of being a producer.
Absolutely. That's so much wisdom that we are sharing with all of you. We hope you are learning. It's like an educational show all of us. Guys, we'll be right back. More on Louie Live with Rob and Nievera after this. we can't play that song.
I'm not, huh?
You're not. Hashtag public domain.
Okay.
That's the name of the show. That's the name of the episode.
Sounds like.
Public domain. Welcome back to Louie Live with Robin Nievera, Marcus Davis, and Moves.
I'd like to think that I know that globally you're in touch with the music scene and everything. What do you think, or what do you have to say about OPM music?
Well, I think that it's growing exponentially. It's growing now because artists are getting back to writing their own songs, and the covers industry is slowly dying. So I think it's growing, and it's exciting to see.
Do you think it will? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it's evolving too. Like I think the definition of what people like yourself have defined as they're taking that and they're using different offshoots, you know. So I don't even know what it is anymore, honestly.
True.
Yeah.
No, this is very candid talaga. Like, kunyari with K-pop, people know it's K-pop, you know. But OPM, do you think there will ever come a day na parang, wow, let's say in America, wow, that's OPM, you know?
For me, that's the goal.
Yes,
But see,
that's
like,
the
I
goal.
don't know if Korea called it K-pop. I think they called it pop.
Yeah.
Right? They just made music. And America and the world called them K-pop.
Okay.
So for me, I want the other countries to call our music something else. We call it OPM, because
OPM,
that's
yeah.
how that's what we're known
Yes.
for. But I can't wait. I hope they call it OPM when one of us writes them a song or one of us has a song that comes out in the States. I'm just curious if they'll call it OPM or if they'll call it
and
something
what it'll
else.
sound like, because you know K-pop has its own brand of music now, and I don't know if we have that yet. I mean, it's there. There's so much talent here. We just have to.
It's getting there
we gotta
because of you
brand.
guys. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That is for sure. So we have the past, well, you know, the golden era, the golden era, not the past, but see, it's evolving.
Founding
so we
father.
had this from the very beginning, and now we have you guys. And it's just nice that we could have all of this on this show here on Louie Live with all of you guys.
We're
Just-
standing on your shoulders, basically.
I know, really. You're the what's the name of that guy
And
or
any
something?
tips for young aspiring producers? Short one. A quick.
I think the best tip I can give is work with great artists. You know, I think there are a lot of great artists out there who need young producers, and a lot of young producers need those great artists to finish products, and that's the key. Get in there, finish stuff. Work with the people
Yeah.
around you. Get stuff out so you can get feedback in.
The last 5-10% of the project is the hardest, and that's where most people stop. So you really have to just push through that to finish the mix, because most people won't. They'll never be satisfied. Like, it's not quite done, and they'll never finish it. But you really have to just sit down and spend a whole weekend if you have to, and just finish it. I would also say, get ready to fail a lot. Like the first 5 years of stuff that I made, I wouldn't want to show to anyone. I'd say it's crap. I don't think I've really started making stuff I was comfortable to show till after that. And watch a lot of YouTube videos. Pretty much everything you need to know about mixing or production, there's a YouTube tutorial. Probably 100 of them. So just go on YouTube.
Well, there you go.
That's good advice.
There
That's
you
great,
go.
That's great advice for both of them.
Yan, nadinig nyo yan, ha? Best tips talaga yan. So, thank you very much, Moves and Marcos. Thank you very much.
Thank you for
And,
having us.
Rob,
It really was an honor, guys. It's very,
Yes,
very,
it
very
was.
nice that you guys did that.
I learned so much.
I
I
know.
mean, I thought, and then again, you think you know everything. No, oh my
But see,
God. This is,
that's the other lesson you learn. Mr.
That's-
Louie Ocampo has taught
that's-
all of us something. But now the ones who you've taught us are now we're teaching you something in return. So open your minds, guys. So thank you guys again. Moves,
Thank
Marcus
you very
Davis.
much. Thank
we
you.
would also
Thank
like
you,
to thank
Marcus.
these sponsors, Grant Lim of Home Studio, Casa by Karen, Warren Carmen of HMR, and Sogo Hotel.
my turn to say Bello, Fila, Gourmet Farms, La Petite Paradis Specialty Boutique. Okay, Jing Moniz. You like
Jing
that?
Mo- I know.
Jing
You
Moniz
finished it.
Salon, JOC, Swatch, Soler, and PLDT Home. So, thank you everybody for joining us. Just know this, the stories move the music.
And music moves the soul. Moves the soul.
And if the music touches your heart, then our job is done. Good night.
And goodbye.